regardless of the fact that obviously you gained more momentum, I think what you've gained even more is a little bit of confidence knowing that you are going to be able to make that hip move that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I have a way of moving now that I wasn't able to before. I'm still building that confidence and that trust that I can move this way and not hurt myself, which has come a long way. There's still a little bit more ways to go, but it's not healing based. It's just mentally wrapping my mind around, like, I can do this now. And this is okay. It's going to be fine. I'm going to make it through the whole season healthy. We're not going to have all these injuries. I'm not going to be needing steroids. Everything's going to be good. And this is the way that we want it. So I can have another 3-5 years, whatever it is, of playing and thrive in the environments that I'm in. But so that is that situation. The headliner for today, which I wanted to get into, was the whole Watertown Motor City situation. If you're new joining the show, well, let me explain it to you. So I played for the Motor City Rockers last season, which I use that term played very loosely.
You're part of the roster.
I was on the roster. I was starting right bench. It was an inside joke. Yes, it was a little bit of self-deprecating humor, but it was very true. I was starting on the right bench every single night, except for when the absolute worst case scenario for the team unfolded, which we'll get to in a second. When I signed in Motor City, the deal was, as we documented in the podcast, because this was all live that we documented last year, was I was going to be the backup. I was going to be the number 2 guy behind Trevor Babin. Obviously, that didn't happen. I was going to start, one of the opening game weekend games, in Port Huron. That never happened. This promise, that promise, you're going to play here, you're going to play there. None of it ever came to fruition. And whatever it was, that resulted in this result. The reality is, it's my own fault, right? Like, I've taken personal responsibility and self-accountability for the fact of, if I thought I was as good as I was, granted, goaltending's in the eye of the beholder, in the eye of the coach, the decision-maker, and the gatekeeper, but I wasn't good enough to swing their opinions. I could say, I'm more this than this guy, I'm more that than that guy. The point is, they didn't feel the confidence to play me when push came to shove. And I tried making the argument for a bit, well, we have the best goalie in the league, Trevor Babin. Who gives a shit who number 2 or number 3 is when you got the best goalie in the league? None of that matters. But when he went up to the SP, it was kind of a dawn of light moment where, well, he's not here. There's no more excuses. And they're not picking me. So the writing is on the wall that there's no future here. They don't really see potential in me. And I'm going to have to go somewhere else if I want to find that opportunity, because I don't believe anybody in the coaching staff outside of goalie coach Bill really believed in me, which, as we know, turned out to be the case because they left me unprotected in the expansion draft. The expansion draft comes around, and I get picked up by Virginia, the Whitfield team in the draft. And this was the moment that I needed, though, because...
Well, they're not Whitfield anymore.
They're the Blue Ridge.
There you go.
Blue Ridge Bobcats.
Yeah.
Sorry. They're still the Virginia team. When they changed their name so many times, it's hard to keep track of. But it was never going to happen if I was a member of the Motor City Rockers. They were not going to get rid of me and give away the asset that they had, no matter what anybody else was offering. No matter how many free hotel rooms, late checkout, you want to pay by the hour, Salisbury steak dinner, all of it. They weren't going to do it. Even if you wanted to trade them a bus, right? It wasn't going to happen. So the draft was essential for me to get out and get into a position where I could be traded. And now, this is a very integral part of the story of how I ended up in Watertown. So, last season, I was not going to back up any of the first 3 games. And our other goalie, Blake Scott, didn't have any insurance, which we talked about in the show. But because he didn't have an insurance for being on the ice, it changed the rotation. So, I ended up backing up the first game in Watertown, the first game of the road trip, scratch the first game on the bench the second game. But because of that, in the second game, our Lord and Savior, Trevor Babin, gets into a brawl. He gets kicked out. Somebody's got to go in. It's me. Well, and before the game, our now GM, Coach Charlie Pence Jr., comes up to me in warm-up, says, hey, man, really love what you're doing. I think it's good for the league. It's good for everybody. And just don't listen to anybody, man. I really love what you're doing. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really nice of him to say. And then obviously, he beat somebody up and started the bench brawl. And I'm thinking to myself in the locker room, like, that guy was so nice to me like 20 minutes ago. I can't believe he did that. Right?
That's a guy who knows how to turn it on and off. It's a valuable skill in the FE.
Man of many personalities. But fast forward, and they're trying to make trades for me. Obviously, Motor City's not interested, but fast forward to when I go to Whitfield, way easier to make a trade. They don't know what they have. They don't even care. I mean, I'm talking to the guy in charge in Virginia, the owner, and he's like, okay, tell me about yourself. And I said, why'd you draft me? Well, I don't really know anything about you. I was just told that I should draft you. So if you could tell me about yourself, that'd be great. And so I was like, do you know that I had hip surgery? Not really. Tell me about it. But this guy knows nothing. Like, who made this decision?
The name looked good. I like that origin.
That'll look good in the back of a jersey or over top of a 33.
I like the cut of his jib.
But so the trade goes through. Obviously, Watertown picking up myself and second all times games played. Dustin Henning, absolute legend, best haircut in the league. By the way, actually no, I can't say that. I'm gonna leave that at the podcast for now. But so him and I going to Watertown in exchange for the assets that they sent back to Virginia, which Seemed like a little bit of an unbalanced trade, if you ask me. But hey, I don't care. They don't ask how. They ask how many, and they ask, how did you get to Watertown? Well, I got there. Who cares, right? So moral of the story is that it's good to be somewhere where I'm wanted, specifically in Watertown. It's good to be appreciated. It's good to have a GM where I can call up Penzi and we can actually have a conversation, a human, personal conversation about real shit, real life, not just business, not just the game, about, hey, how much am I going to make this year? How many sticks am I going to get? I want these kind of sticks. Like we're talking actual real shit. So to Penzi, I know he does listen to the show. I just want to say I appreciate our friendship. I appreciate the loyalty. I got nothing but respect for this guy. This man is the straightest shooter that I've come across in the entire FPHL. There's been, in my less than a year of experience in the league, I've seen BS slung left and right. This guy's been a straight shooter the whole way, and I couldn't be more proud to play for this man this season in the Watertown area.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
I'm really
now,
excited.
I know you're excited about the hockey, and as you should be. I mean, the fact that you already know you can circle a date on the calendar, know that you're going to be in the pipes. I mean, that's exciting. Because of the vlog and because of the artistic approach you take to making videos, are you excited about the town of Watertown?
I'm very excited. I think it's a beautiful town visually, first off. I think the people really love their team. And even from the short video that I had being in Watertown, I had all these people reaching out about just how awesome it was to see it. And obviously the beer can guy, who I owe a couple, king cans for knocking over his whole beer. We'll throw the video on the video version of the podcast. But the whole town seems really excited. I'm really excited. I mean, we've already sold 5 of my jerseys. There's a couple season ticket holders that are like, I want a Origin jersey, because if you're a season ticket holder, you get whatever jersey you want on the house. And these guys, they can pick anybody in the team. It's all the same price. And they say, I want Origin jerseys. So if you're one of those season ticket holders, thank you. That, deep down in my heart, that means a lot and is really awesome. And I can't wait to play for these people. I can't wait to play for our coach, for our GM, for our owner, Tyler, our owner, Ashley, to the whole town, everybody. I am so freaking excited. And I just wanted to say, too, we do play Motor City, I believe, 8 times, 2 of which happen end of November, and then obviously we go to Motor City for the end of March. Those will be games marked in the calendar. Obviously, I'm going to leave it at that. I think I should probably stop talking about that.
Don't, as they say, don't give them anything to post up in the locker room.
All I'm going to say is I am very, very looking forward to November 22nd. I'm also looking forward to October 13th, which is the home opener against Danbury. But I'm very, very excited for November 22nd. I am, not to get too preachy on you, I'm a believer in God. I believe the universe works in a very unique way. And although at the time things may not make sense, but when you look back, hindsight's 2020, all the chapters make sense. This is where it started. This is where it finished. This is where it picked up. And God will decide on that night who was right. I think the whole season, if I was to make a prediction, we will probably play Motor City in the playoffs. I almost can guarantee you it. Just the way that the universe and God works, I bet you we play Motor City in the playoffs. But there's a plan, there's a formula that he's working. And I'm just very fortunate to be able to do what I do. And that's another thing, too, I did want to say it, was in this whole experience with Motor City, obviously you and I had personal conversations during it about, man, this is tough. I'm hearing this, they're doing that, this is happening, that's happening. It's really, really tough. You could sit here and say, I got to go to the rink today. I got to do this. Change your vocabulary. To me, to anybody going through a tough time, change your vocabulary. I get to go to the rink and work with goalie coach Bill today. I get to make my $17.85 a day and my $125.
I'm excited about, or I'm blessed to have.
Well, I may not be excited because not every day is full of motivation and all this, magical pixie dust, but I get the privilege of doing that. You think 80 years ago, my ancestors and yours were getting blown up in a ditch in West Germany. You know what I mean? This is way better than that.
Well, it's funny. I saw a clip from a guy who lived, he's probably in his 70s, and he goes, people always ask me, what was it like during the Depression? And they're waiting for a good story. And I always just kind of say, well, we had no money, but nobody had any money. So it's not like, you could really do anything about it, and everyone just kind of survives it, and you just figured it out. It's not like anyone's really doing much better than anyone else. So, I mean, that's the kind of idea. You're in it, and you're the only person that can kind of do anything about it.
Well, and you have the ultimate say. If you want to play professional hockey when you're on the team, you can do that. If you want to go work at Target, you want to go back to school, you have all these options. But I'm very fortunate to be able to play professional hockey. I'm also in a very, very blessed situation where there's guys that are knocking and begging for opportunities in the FPHL, healthy, can't get them. I missed half of last season. I had hip surgery, and granted, I'm a 100 times better goaltender right now than I was pre-surgery, but I'm getting these opportunities, and I'm very fortunate. So I get to go to the rink in Watertown every day. I get to go on these road trips. I get to play for Charlie Pence Jr. every single day and wear the Watertown logo every single day. I get that privilege and that honor, and I couldn't be more happy about it.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button.
We do a new podcast every single Sunday during the season called Sling the Biscuit. It is a non-mainstream hockey podcast, so we talk about my hockey career, the minor pros, Spain, the Fed, you name it, all the stuff that you won't hear in the mainstream news.
Music,
Pop culture.
politics, a little bit.
Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.